Good morning, my friend. Welcome to the Pastor's Podcast. Good to have you with me. It is Friday morning and been a great week here in the Oklahoma City area. And just great reports of people being saved and just a good week. Looking forward to a good weekend as we are into the middle of the August. I think it's what, second Sunday in August that we'll be going into. And we've had a great summer here. And I'm looking forward to see what God's going to do as we're right now preparing for the fall. And I'm all the way into the end of October. And I'm looking forward to seeing what God's going to do there with our fall campaign. And school's starting up here just right around the corner. Missions conference here in just about a week and a half, I think it is. We're going to have it at the church. And it's going to be a great conference, and you're invited to come. It starts a week from this coming Wednesday. And be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 7 p.m. I'd encourage you to come be a part of that if you're in the area. We'd love to have you come be a part of it and seeing what God can do in our conference and trying to help get us focused on reaching the lost for Christ worldwide, at home and abroad. And that is one of the great secrets that I think sometimes we forget as we look at all that's going on. And I would encourage you, get involved. Let's see what God can do in our churches, trying to reach the lost, understanding that soul winning does not negate our responsibility to give towards missions. And giving towards missions does not negate the responsibility to go soul winning. We're to do it all. And I'd encourage you to come be a part of that as our hearts will be stirred about reaching the lost. And I'm excited about that week and what we've got planned for it. It's going to be a good time. I would encourage you, if you can, you come and be a part of it. Well, today I want to read to you from Luke chapter 22, verses 45 and 46. It says, "And when he rose up from prayer and was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow, and said unto them, Why sleep ye?" Great question. He says, "Rise and pray, lest ye enter into temptation." Two groups of people are represented in these verses. Now, both sets of people were facing sorrow. However, while one group was sleeping, the other was praying. The disciples were sleeping because of sorrow, but Jesus represented the other group that was praying in their time of sorrow. The difference between the two is that the disciples fled when Jesus was taken, but Jesus, who endured the greatest sorrow of all, made it through his time of sorrow and fulfilled the Father's will at the same time. Now, isn't that interesting? So the ones who had the lesser of the sorrow ended up running and fleeing. The one who experienced the greatest of sorrow made it through the time of sorrow. Why? Because he prayed. Sorrow is tiring. Anybody who's ever gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. It's very tiring and it'll wear you out. Sorrow comes in many forms. It comes in the forms of troubles and heartaches that we face. It comes in the form of despair when there seems to be no hope for our situation to change. It comes in the form of misfortune when something you were striving for has a great setback. Sometimes sorrow comes in the form of death, and we have to deal with the death of a loved one. Whatever your form of sorrow comes in, it'll easily wear you down to the point that you want to quit. Anybody's ever been there? You know what I'm talking about. It just mentally it wears you out, and because you're mentally wore out, you're physically wore out. Now, sleeping because of sorrow never helps anyone to handle their sorrow in the right manner. When you look at sleeping because of sorrow, sleeping displays itself in many forms in our lives. And I want to point out some ways people display sleeping for sorrow. Some display sleeping for sorrow by running from their problems. Avoidance never makes the sorrow go away. But prayer certainly gives you the grace to bear that sorrow. So you can run from sorrows and think it'll help you, but you'll always find that avoiding the sorrow is always unsuccessful because it's unsuccessful because it's still there. When you get to where you get to run to, it's going to be there. Too many run. They try to avoid. I'm going to run from their avoidance. Avoidance is never done. I can cover my eyes. Okay, let me illustrate. I'm not a big snake guy. Now let's say I see a snake in my yard, and I can cover my eyes. I want to avoid it. I don't see it there. See, it's not there. That snake's still there. I can take my eyes off. In fact, the snake might be getting closer to me now. Now, understand, you can play avoidance your whole life and say, but that doesn't change that the cause of sorrow is still there. Some display sleeping for sorrow by turning to vice or indulgence. Oh, my friend. I went to two homes yesterday, visiting some people, and they're just going through some tough times. And in both cases, they're struggling with alcohol. And one you can smell alcohol in their breath. And I just like, man, this is not going to make your sorrow better. It only makes it worse. Some try to the drugs. You can run to drugs, prescription drugs or illegal drugs, and try to calm your nerves through that. And I'm telling you, it's not going to do it. Marijuana is not going to help you, and vaping is not going to help you. Some indulge their sorrow in spending money or overeating in an attempt to what they call comfort themselves, only to find their indulgence makes life's problems worse. My friend, you can turn to vice, you can turn to indulgence, but it never makes those sorrows better. Some display sleeping for sorrow through anger or being short with others. Anger's never resolved one issue. Anger only makes the sorrows greater because you're destroying relationships by attacking those who love you. Listen to me, there's people that love you, they're trying to help you, and you respond in anger. That's not going to make your sorrow better. Some display sleeping for sorrow by literally hiding. I've come across people who sit in a dark room and never leave sorrow. I'll think of a guy years ago, one of my deacons who goes so with me often. He'll know who I'm talking about. Went to this guy's house, and he literally barricades himself inside the house. Dark, he's depressed, and he's hibernating alone. And I don't know why I'm so depressed. I said, I do. I said, look at your house. It's dark. I said, when's the last time you got sunshine? Well, everyone's after. I said, no one's after you. I said, no one's after you is your depression. You can't close yourself up into a dark room and expect that to be a help. My friend, God gives us sunlight for a reason. Some of you need to get out of your house and get into sunlight. I was talking to someone yesterday who has been dealing with some sickness, and I said, you need to get out. And they said, well, it's hot. I said, then get out in the morning and then get out in the evening. But stop hydrating, because your sickness isn't going to get better by laying around and it's bad. Yeah, get outside. That sunshine is good for you, and breathing that fresh air is good for you. I'm just saying, listen to me. You can try to hibernate, but it's going to make you depressed. Going to make your sorrows worse. And it causes some to become suicidal. Now, listen to me. That's not the answer. Jesus had the best way to face sorrow, and that is by going to our Father, our Heavenly Father, in prayer. You face sorrows head on by praying. Prayer is always the only solution to facing heavy sorrow, because we unload our cares and sorrows on God. He said, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Now, Jesus faced sorrows by doing the Father's will for his life. Instead of stopping when sorrow comes, he went and he prayed, and then he kept on going forward, and he fulfilled the Father's will. He went through that time of sorrow, came out on the resurrected side. My friend, you've got to make it your habit that when you're going through your time of sorrow, whatever your sorrow is, one, run to prayer, and second, keep going. Just keep going. One foot in front of the other. You do as much as you can. Don't you dare lay there. I'm telling you. Boy, I wish people would listen. I know people don't think that I know what I'm talking about. God didn't give me these gray hairs for no reason, but I watch too many people lay around trying to deal with their problems in life, and it never happens. I got this little thing right here. This many of you wonder what's gone on with my arm, and I ruptured my bicep a while back, and when I ruptured my bicep, I just it was painful. No doubt it was painful, but listen to me. I kept going. I didn't let it stop me. My friend, we've got to be careful not to let the sorrows of life stop us. Those sorrows are certainly there, but we've got to keep going. Hiding, running, and anger and everything else, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to make your problems better. I'm saying this. I'm saying that we need to become a people that truly say, let's make this thing happen. Let's do what we ought to do. Let's face the sorrow in prayer and give it to God. And then the best you can, pull yourself up by your ear and get yourself out and try to do your best for God. My friend, I'm not saying you can do what you used to do, but you can do something. Um, I just I get burdened for people because I know there's God made us to never sit and do nothing. He told us to keep going. That's where God comes through. You just got to keep moving. It may be painful. It may hurt. You may not feel like it. You may feel like everybody's looking at you or whatever your problem is, but you've got to understand that's how God helps us in our time of sorrow. Jesus didn't stop. The disciples, they're asleep, and then when it came, they ran. Jesus faced the greatest sorrow that anybody could ever face. He prayed, and then he went through it and came out on the resurrected side. Do you want to come out on the resurrected side? My friend, if you want to come out on the resurrected side, then can I tell you this? You've got to say, I'm going to run to God in prayer. Not only am I going to run to God in prayer, I'm going to get up, get out of the house, let the sun shine, and go serve God, do the best I can. If it's only 15 minutes of serving, do 15 minutes of serving, but do something. Do something for God. Don't sit there. It will get worse. And I promise you this, I'll tell you this story and be done. I think of Miss Marlene Evans. Those who are my age and maybe a little bit younger than me would know Marlene Evans. And Mrs. Evans, what a great lady. Fought cancer for 14 years. Doctor told her she's going to die. She could have easily ran and hid. But you know what she did? She prayed every day for God to help her. And she fought it. She just kept on going. I can remember times she'd come to class and she'd be teaching. You could tell she didn't feel good. Always a smile on her face, just teaching. I really believe her going is just facing struggles and not quitting is what allowed her to get through that. Was she in pain? Yes. Did it hurt? Yes. Was there days she didn't feel like doing it? Yes. But she made it through because she kept on going. That's the secret. Face your sorrows head on through prayer and continually serving God. I hope this is a help to you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great weekend.